Hi everyone, and thank you very much for joining us today on this conversation about holistic support. A few words about myself, if you don't know me yet. I'm Carol. I am the founder of Parentally, and we are a platform to help new and future parents find all the extra care and support they may need during pregnancy, birth, postpartum, and early parenthood. So whether you are planning for a family, or if you are pregnant, or just had a baby, you can find on Parentally informational support, community support, and also the support of professionals, so such as doulas, childbirth instructors, postpartum care providers, child sleep coaches, and many more. So visit us on parentally.nl, and of course follow us to keep in touch with us and our amazing content. And today we are going to talk about holistic support, and my guest is Alejandra Alarcón. Please forgive me if the pronunciation is not that good. Sorry.
You did it perfectly.
Great. Alejandra, you are the founder of Stralende Mama. You have been with Parentally since our beginnings, and you have been a great supporter. I'm very happy to have you here today on this Instagram Live. Would you like to start by maybe introducing yourself and tell us more about who you are and what you do?
Of course. First of all, thank you for setting up this platform, because I think you've been such a big help for also the professionals to have like one field to find everybody, but also that you did it from your own experience. And this is also what I started my company, and the love and the passion. And yeah, I'm Alejandra Alarcón, very good, from Stralende Mama. It's well, in English it's pronounced well, many people pronounce it in a different way, but I did it on purpose on Dutch, because since I live here since 1977, I was brought here with my family from Chile. So originally I'm from there, but I feel that I'm also from the Netherlands. So I've combined also in my daily life, but also in my work, those two cultures in one, because I found that they're very valuable from both sizes, you know. So I was struggling with this for many, many, many years. Look, where I'm from Chile, and I'm from Amsterdam. So at some point I said, I'm from both. So that made it much easier for me to start flowing from that moment on. I started my company in 2014, right after my own experience being a mom, not knowing nothing, and just following, you know, like we all do, juggling and finding out so many things. Like your firstborn, you know, you've found the love of your life and you want to start a family. And this has brought me so many knowledge. I always thank my girl, because she was the greatest teacher I had, you know, and that's why I also like to look at things holistically, because everything comes from somewhere. It's not only what you see, you know, what you hear. It's so many layers, you know, it's so many things that are important in how you cope with things and how you look back at things. And I was induced in 2014, you know, I had preeclampsia, my blood pressure was too high. So I needed to stay in the hospital for 3 weeks.
Oh, wow.
And for me, that was, in the beginning, of course, like stunning, you know, what is going on? I don't know how can I, you know, find help, and who is going to help me through this, you know? So it was very difficult back then, because now we have the luxury, like so many professionals are offering, and I'm thankful for that. So many amazing things to help a newborn family, you know, with the startup, with all the transition, being pregnant, how to become pregnant, being at the birth, you know, we need this support. We need to start taking care of each other, you know. So I didn't have the luck to have all those things, but it made me wiser. I even then, if I had this experience, I started my company anyway because I looked inwards, and there we have all the answers, you know. So I was very happy to got this knowledge and this experience from that. If I would have had like the perfect birth, I don't think I would have had all this searching, you know, and finding out so many things, you know, that are so important. You know, this is why I look at things holistically, because it can't be just one thing. I'm always educating myself. I'm always learning to get to know, you know, and people who know me, you also know me quite some years now, and you're always like asking me, so what are you up to now, you know? And I got, every time I get like very, you know, enthusiastic. I'm like, oh, I'm learning about herbs now. How can I integrate that in my work? And how can I make some teas, you know? And you know, what can I give the mom, you know, being pregnant, she feels like this, you know. Pachamama, Mother Earth, is serving us always, and it's so amazing to start going back, like all the knowledge that we lost during the years. You know, everything has become a quick fit, and we expect everything just to be quick and get it in the supermarket or whatever. But going back to the source, you know, to Mother Earth, the elements, the archetypes, you know, and yeah, I'm grateful, so grateful for this path, for my experience, even if it was not the perfect birth, like I expected in water and everything. I'm so grateful, you know, because this is when I started my journey after my birth that went very quick. I also, like, when I got induced, I got my hands like this and asked my mom for help, and I don't have her anymore. I lost her 19 years ago, and I had held my hand like this and closed my eyes, and I asked her, and I also asked all the lineages behind me, all the women lineages from my family, and all the lineages that could be help me through this process, if they could be there, you know, to help me. And I really felt that. I didn't have a clue what I was doing, you know, but for me, instantly is how I work. So I think I activated so many things without knowing, asking the invisible world for help, guide me through this. And yeah, so what else? I can tell so many things.
I know, huh? We've been talking a lot lately,
yeah.
and it's been very inspiring. And I'm actually kind of thankful for both our stories, because even if in some ways they were not as positive as we wish they could have been, we learned so much. And like you said, Parentally was born out of my first experience that was not as positive as I wish it could have been. But it brought me here, and it brought me to meet also wonderful people like you. And it's I think it's a great opportunity today to talk about our journeys and how and why we do what we are doing today. You are a holistic birth worker, and I would like to double click on this holistic. What does it mean actually, holistic, and especially in the context of pregnancy, birth, and parenthood, postpartum?
Now, to start with, I don't see the person as I always try to get to know the person very well, as much as I can, because it depends on which part I get to know them, of course. But if I'm at their doula, I always sit down with them, and I'm trying to see how they live, how they are working, how they are treating themselves, you know, mentally, physically, you know, how they eat, you know, because the stress and everything. So I try to make them aware of all the prints and all the translation, the translating what they're doing with their emotions during the pregnancy, or, you know, because it's forming already. Even if the baby is inside, you know, they think, oh, let's do this quickly, I'll do this, blah, blah, you know. And I try to make them aware with love, of course, so not punishing, like we have enough of that, but more like to get to know them, how they think, how they, you know, it's so many layers, like I said, you know. That's why I keep on learning about many things, because then I can like make them aware and land them more like how important it is to be in a flow, you know, and not have schedules like from the morning till the end of the day, like fully packed with so many things they have to take care of. They are taking care of the outer world, but less inwards. So meditation, you know, yoga, you know, even if they haven't done meditation at all, you know, sometimes I like, you know, and what is needed, you know. I don't work with schedules. I just work with what is needed in the moment. I'm always carrying my Rebozo, for example. So if I see they're too much in their head, the first thing I do, can I invite you to be more in your body, you know? And many people, this is why I like to work with cultural backgrounds, you know, because there's so much knowledge there. There's so much love and care and support and connection, and, you know, and once they get to know this, they don't want to live without it anymore. And then it's finding this magic again, this connection, this love for themselves, and don't be so hard. We have to do this, and we are constantly those goals, you know, constantly like, yeah, how many times will this meeting take, for example? They're asking me if I'm their doula. I'm like, as long as I need to be there, as long as we need to, let's sit down, let's ground first, let's breathe, you know, before we start like like this. And then like, oof, I really enjoyed this. So this is what I like to call more in different ways, you know. So I've never been in all those years to a birth that a birth was the same, that the people were the same, that the couples were the same. It's always different. So this is why I also try to translate to them, you know. I can guide you through the process. I can say like, this is like what they would like to do, but what is your wish? What is your opinion? What would you like? And it's a different approach than we need to do it like this, you know. And this is, yeah. So yeah, and I do more things because it's important to also have the trust in the process, so that I don't have to have 15 different care providers for something, but they can have like me for 6 months, for example, you know, like in the pregnancy, during the birth, and after the birth also, you know. So it's different different time slots, time, how do you say it? Yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah,
it depends.
So
Actually, it depends on the moment you're at, and your emotions on the moment, and your needs of the moment. You were talking about asking the parents what they like, what they want. It's not always easy to know what you would like, huh?
No, and that's why I sometimes take more time in my intake, you know, and because it's also for me the father is important, you know, in the whole process, you know, and how you became pregnant is also important, you know. because that is the connection already that you have, you know, as a family. So it's that's again the trust. Can you trust somebody to go in a flow together, and also dare to ask questions? And I always say there are not stupid questions, you know, so please ask if you want to hear something. And especially when you work with expats, you also have, they've brought up in a different way, you know, how they birth.
Absolutely.
And what they have seen and what they have experienced. Like some don't even know that home birth is possible. So for example, one time I had an Indian couple and she said, I want to have a home birth. And then I said, really? But I know in India, they don't do it like this. She says, no, but now I'm in the Netherlands and I started reading about it. And so I always make jokes because I like to, I said, you're going to be very famous, eh? In your Indian community, you know, because people will see you as an example. And I also said to her, you are very Dutch now, eh? You have turned into a Dutchie now, eh? And she was laughing a lot also. And this is what I also try to do. It's something beautiful. It's a connection between the love of two people who are expanding their love as a family. And sometimes we forget that. You know, so and then when I was talking to her like this, she said, really, you really are pronouncing the things that we forgot. Being grateful, being thankful, you know, love, the connection, and so many things that are important that we sometimes forget because we are so busy doing work and finishing, buying a house. There is such a tiny person coming and everything needs to change, you know. And I always laugh about it because this laugh in a way that I also tell them, okay, but why didn't you wait for 1 year, for example? Or because the little one doesn't know his room yet in the beginning, it's going to be with you. Yes, I didn't think about it, you know. So we want everything to be perfect. So and once you make them aware of things, they're like thinking more like, okay, much more out of their head, but more connection from the heart. Like, oh, you're right, really, we were thinking we need to finish all those to-do lists before the baby arrives, but it's giving so much stress for the baby, for the whole family, and that's a pity. So yeah, you know, also as in France it goes completely different. Also in Chile, where I'm from, it goes completely different. For many years, doula was not even allowed to be in the birthing room. And it was even in the beginning of the birth, you know, it was not even that she was in the last stage, you know, but she needed to wait in the hall. And then you lose that connection of the care provider, of the professional that you want there for the emotional and the physical support, you know. And yeah, that's why I like to look at the layers of things. It's so many things that are important. It's not only being there, but it's how you get there, you know, together as a team. So and to feel safe also, because it's not about my journey, it's about their journey. That's why I said, what are your wishes? And even if you don't know it, you still have weeks and months to think about, and then it starts unfolding, you know, in a way that you're like taking baby steps to the
it's like,
that's
like you're planting a seed.
Exactly. Yeah, so not the perfect stroller like we always think. I'm always saying, ask around. There are so many people who have so many things like to give away or to that you can take over for less, because it's overproduction of things as well, you know. And I'm not talking about the hygiene things, of course, that they can buy new, but more the things like the stroller. It's so much money sometimes. And yeah, it's like I said, there's so many things to think about when you're just becoming parents in a different country. Who will you have around? Who's going to cook for you? Who you will be having that... Sorry. It's also a kid. Bella, that's life, eh? Everything comes in between. Yeah. So she wants to be part of the... Then you can see also who is my newest kid in the family.
Cute.
Yeah.
Oh, very cute.
We just
You
have
were talking, Alexandra, about... I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, it doesn't matter.
No, you were talking about your doula work, but you are also doing a lot of different things. You were talking about the Rebozo, and how do you actually incorporate this into the support that you offer to parents? How does that translate, and also all your values and all your principles? Would you like also to tell us actually about all the things you do, because you do a lot of different things?
They're all related to pregnancy, birth, and postpartum. And this is about the beauty about Rebozo. You can use it in any occasion of those. And what I do also, because I really like to work with the Rebozo, I teach the husband how, of course, I let him experience also, because then you know how to translate it better to your wife or your partner. And then so they can have also the connection in between each other. So if I'm there, even if I'm giving HypnoBirthing course, I always implement the Rebozo, so they can have this connection with the two of them. And it's like extending your arms, or extending or feeling more like in a rhythm, in the flow, to be less stiff, and more like going and letting go and getting out of your head, landing more in your body. So it doesn't matter if they only do HypnoBirthing with me, I will teach it there. When I'm their doula, I will leave a Rebozo for them. And this is I've also, during all the years, I have also had more. I started with one in 2015, and now I've extended, because I also do the closing the bone ceremony, for example. And then I need to have seven Rebozos. For me, I always invite them to get to know the Rebozo, and when they like it, I say, here you have one, pick one, which fabric do you like? So I let them also have their feeling in it. And then I say, okay, during the coming months, when you see that she has pain in her lower back, or she's too much in her head, just shake her a little bit, you know? And then I always get so many nice feedbacks from it. And when I'm their doula, I always bring it with me, and they also bring theirs. So so then it's part of the journey. So it's that, and it's now with the herbs exactly the same. So I make blends to like have more focus, you know, when she's too much in her head, or when she's in the transition, like, you know, from fully dilated to pushing. Then I have some blends made that you can inhalate more and deeper, you know. And the oils that are in there are for the intensity of the waves, you know. Let's talk in HypnoBirth. And then
of the surges.
The surges, yeah. And then you see that that the moms like it a lot, and because they cannot speak, the only thing what she does is this. Then I know I have to come with the blend, you know, with the... And it's nice because also the care providers and the midwives and the nurses, or if you're in the hospital, for example, they always are curious what you're doing. So they come and they're like, "What is that? Can I have a sniff? Can I see what it is?" And then they're like, "Do you also sell it?" I said, "No, it's just for this couple, made specifically for them." And then, so this is the little things that I try to do, to use the senses, the touching, the just being in a different way. Like I like to work with the combs, for example. So I show them during the pregnancy. You know, those are some things that I show them during the meetings that we have in the pregnancy to the birth. So for acupuncture points, so they know already. And I always say they're plastic, so you can go in the bath, under the showers. They can go with you to the toilet, so you don't have to, you know, carry something heavy. So you just place them in your hands, and when you feel the surges coming, just press on it, and then, you know. And this is also something they don't want to let go of. And I also tell the husband, for example, then you save your own hands, otherwise it will be you, you know, pressing in the hands. So so yeah, those kinds of things. I'm always like trying to search, you know, what can I do in a different way, because I've talked with other doulas about it. I don't use it, I don't know what it is, you know. And it's, yeah, it's doing with simple things, you know, having a great outcome. So and sometimes you have to use simple techniques, you know, to, because you don't have too much communication, or you have less talking, you know, it's more feeling. And yeah, and those kinds of things I do during the sessions. And also how the mind works, you know, how the body's reacting on the mind, you know, and your thoughts have influence on your body, you know. So I also try to have always the partner involved in the meetings. And depending on the situation, of course, if somebody lives abroad, then I grab the laptop with it, and then I'm also trying to connect, because we need to connect. You know, we are all busy, we have all schedules that are too big, and sometimes people arrive later in the postpartum, for example, and I haven't met them before. And then they want, for example, the closing the bone ceremony, you know, the Mayan closing. And then they had a traumatic experience. And then I will do that after 40 days, of course. We always respect the 40 days. This is also a cultural thing. And then we will give time and space to talk about the birth, you know, having some massages. Yeah, it's also really personal what will come up there. But now I've also certified as a postpartum care provider, so I also can do things in that. And then it's like welcoming the mother ceremony, for example. I'm doing some yoni steaming, you know, helping in the first week of after the birth with the Benkum belly binding, for example, you know. So herbs, lots of herbs, food baths, nice oils to massage with the whole body, you know. And this is really for the mother, because once you've become a mom, everybody's talking about the baby, and the mom did all the hard work. And there's like, okay, so in a way I got emotional when I got my certificate, because 9 years ago when I started this journey, I didn't have somebody around me to help me. So because I know from my own experience how much it's needed to have somebody who will take care of you, to have somebody who is there for you, to listen, to hold the space, you know, to be there for you. I don't know, and being heard, being seen, you know, that it's okay to have tears if there are tears. It's okay to feel emotions. It's okay to have the experience that you had. It's okay to ask for help. Sometimes we get shy and want to do everything by ourselves, and we forget to ask for a little help and love around. Yeah, and sometimes I arrive with mother's chicken soup if they eat meat, of course, and they're like, oh, but you know, but you have to eat, you're breastfeeding, you know. So, oh yeah, I didn't have time to cook. I said, I understand, you shouldn't be cooking also. Somebody needs to take care of you. So yeah, sometimes you just connect with your intuition and you see, you know, what is needed. And even if I didn't order it, you know, it's also being human, taking care of your sisters, you know, and the family was finding out what it is to be a new mother, you know. And lots of people work through the birth, but after the birth that they forget. And this is when the journey starts.
Yep.
Right?
That's very true. That's very true. Something I think we cannot say enough is that everyone prepares for birth, but postpartum is also something that is worth maybe start anticipating before and start planning for how things are going to happen and what kind of help can you get, because of course some of us are very lucky that we can hire professional support, a postpartum doula or postpartum coach or any other kind of additional support, but sometimes it's also about asking family, if you have family around, or friends, or neighbors even, to, I don't know, if you need to take a fresh air for half an hour, then maybe leave the baby with someone who is available to help you. So I think actually support, we don't think about it, but there are a lot of people who might be willing to help. We need to ask and also learn to accept the help that is being offered, which is not always easy.
It's not always easy. That's what I told you, that people are thinking we need to do it ourselves, and this is when we lose this part, you know, because I also thought, but I'm a mom now, I should manage myself, you know, I should do it. But where did this sentence come from? It takes a village, because it takes a village, you know. It takes people. I didn't have my village, to be honest, you know, and that's why I said about this mom thing when I was asking for help energetically, because this was the way that I could ask for her help. And I remember that I asked my sister to make mom's soup, and she brought me the soup, and I already smelled, you know, and I will never forget, even I get emotional about it, because she was there. Only with the soup bringing, you know, she was there. And I was like, oof, you brought me mom. You brought my mom. And it was such, and this is what I'm talking about, the care that we need to have for one another. We shouldn't do everything by ourselves. We should help each other. And even if people are like, oh, but it's so much money, I'm like, okay, what can you spend? What can you do? You know, I always try to talk in a way like, how can we make it possible for you? You know, I know it's somebody invented it. It's an energy exchange, but it's not always about this only, you know. It can make such a difference how the start is for the rest of your life, you know, because we think we will put it away and we will not think about it anymore, but at some point it will be there again, because you are again pregnant and you're like, oh, I forgot about the first time, it was traumatic, I didn't have this village around me, I didn't have. So you get a chance again to do it in a different way, and then you see more with the second and the third that people are thinking, oh, let's wait a minute, what can we do with the postpartum? What can we do? And even if people only do HypnoBirthing with me, I'm already letting them know, stuff your fridge with food, you know, ask who can walk with the dog, ask if they can pay it. I'm saying in that sentence, if they can, of course, like, okay, what are the wishes? Which kind of food do you like? Are you a vegetarian or this, that, you know? And I also there, you know, my mom was a cook, so I can really cook very well. So then I really treat them like they're in the restaurant, you know. I garnate that, and then I'm making a party of it. I'm like cooking and singing, you know, and having a great time. And this also the energy and the intuition and how do you do things? If you're like moaning, doing it like this, This is also the energy you put in the food. And this is the holistic, what I'm talking about. There are so many layers that are important. How do you cope with things? How do you which kind of, and rituals are also important, and which small rituals can you teach the mom that she can take care, even if it's 5 minutes a day or 3 minutes, or she's breastfeeding and she's doing affirmations while she's breastfeeding, and say like, oh, this is not working, invite her, make her be aware, like what nice picture can she hang or can she do, or there are so many small things that you can add already that can make a big difference.
I totally agree with you. But it's always nice to have someone who can show you a bit around, someone with experience. It can be your sister, it can be your mother, it can be your aunts, your friends, who can also share about what they've been through and share their knowledge and their experience with you to, like I said, plant a seed and help you find what is right for you and what will help make you feel good, feel better. I remember when I had my second baby, my aunt came like one day before birth. And I mean, everyone is different. I really wanted to hold the baby for as long as I could, all day, every day. But what she did was that she cooked food for me, and the first chicken soup she made, it was amazing. It was so fragrant. I took a picture, I look at it, I'm like, this is the thing I remember about my first postpartum
Me
day,
too,
because it made such a difference, a lot of coriander, the things I liked, and it really lifted my mood up. And I think it's about thinking about, what makes you happy? What will help, lift up your mood and helps you keep going. And there is a lot as a village that we can do to support and to help new mothers and new families, to help them get the best possible start.
And if you're a bigger family, also you have also the other kids around that needs your attention and needs your care. So how can you be there as a support as well, and cook for the whole family if that's needed. It's needed, and how can they be big brothers and sisters for the baby and to help the mom again? You like this, make them part, and it's also beautiful to see children who are in the births, and how the moms are like, I want her to be there, but I'm not exactly how she's going to react. And then I try to say to her, trust the process, trust nature. They know. And if she doesn't, she will go away by herself. She will go and start making a puzzle, or she's going to start drawing, or she's good. And then you will see the drawing that she will make is related energetically to the happening. And then I was at the birth also, and it went so quick that I asked the father, shouldn't be the oldest here, because he was at their parents. And he said, oh, you're completely right, I'm gonna start calling. And then she literally arrived, and they were like I saw them and I started breathing again with them. I was like, do you want to sit next to me? Because she was sitting on the birthing chair, and then she sat really on my lap, and she watched her baby sister being born. And then she got her Lego with a baby and a crib, for her dollhouse. So as soon as she didn't want to see it anymore when the baby was born and everything, because mom tried to give her the breastfeeding, and she went away for a little while, and she started making this Lego, because it was new. And then she was so happy to show her to her little sister that she had made it, that she was present at the birth. And she was only 5 years old, but also her parents were like stunned that she came and she had never seen me before. And when I was going in the evening after we had sushi, because she wanted to have sushi, and this was so funny because my partner asked me, when are you coming home? We are ordering sushi. And I was like, this is also synchronized, you know, how is this even possible? And then and then she said, don't go. She was hugging me and giving me kisses, because we had this energetic, you know, birth we experienced by, and still of today, you know, I'm very good friends with them. Sometimes I become friends with the people because I've been through so many things with them. And with them, they started HypnoBirthing. I was their doula, and then she was curious about the postpartum, and she did the Mayan closing with me because her first was traumatic. And then she said, I should have known you from the first, you know, but I was like, okay, but we can do it again on the second. And then she said, I'm totally so in love with the work that you do and all the care that you're giving, you know. Every mom should have this experience, you know. And because you never let me feel uncomfortable like I did with the first. With the first, I was just doing something, you know, following what I needed to do. And now I said, I want to do it in a different way. I totally feel in my cells, like she said to me, it needs to be different. I need to have this experience in a different way. And we had an experience in a different way. Even to the last bit when they thought something was going not well with the baby, I still was saying to her, have trust, have trust. We have all professionals around you that will constantly take care of you, look at you, you know, look at the baby, you know, and always talk with your midwife. Tell her how you feel. Tell her what your wishes are. And in the end, we still had the home birth that went like this. And her husband called me and he thought that she still was in the first stage. I said, she's in the active. I'm really positive. You know, I think the way that she sounds and that she's breathing, I said, I'm coming directly. He said, no, you don't have to come directly. It's not. When I came there, I said, let's call the midwife. And then we called the midwife and she was 9 centimeters. And then I said, you see? He said, like, I very thought that she still was in the first stage. So it went like very, 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 very fast. And every time I said something like, shouldn't you call your other daughter? And boom, she came in, you know. So it was amazing, really. It was an amazing story. And yeah, if you can really help and make a change for them, you know, to have a different experience, you do your best. And it goes always like it goes. But I always say, what comes, and take it from that moment. Don't work too much in plans, but what is it representing now? How can we cope with this? And then move forward, you know? And then, yeah, she still had the home birth. They checked the baby afterwards and there was nothing going on. So yeah, it was a little bumpy before that, but she had the birth that she wanted. And yeah, amazing. And every birth is amazing. Every story has this amazing knowledge in it, learnings, you know, love. And if you can make a little difference, you know, with your postpartum or your course or whatever, you know, it can make such a huge difference for the rest of their lives, because you will always talk about your birth. You will always talk about your experience and who you had around, if you had somebody around, or the second or the third, you know. So yeah, this is why I like to look at things more in a bigger picture than only what is going on now. So
absolutely. I really enjoyed this story. Thank you very much for sharing it. I think it's a beautiful story.
Thank you as well. Thank you as well for this interview, and letting me spread a little bit what I do and what I can mean to the parents and for the babies as well. We all do this for the babies. Let's not forget those souls that are
Absolutely.
the future.
Absolutely. It was very nice to talk to you, Alejandra. Thank you so much for sharing all of your wisdom and all of your experience with us. I think like a lot of people go into pregnancy and birth as not transactional, but something that's gonna just needs to happen, and then you're done, and then you move on to taking care of your baby. But exactly like you said, it matters the way you give birth, because you will look back on it and its memories, and it will influence the way things move forward afterwards during your baby's life, but also during the rest of your life. And for me, giving birth the way I gave birth the first time really influenced the way I decided to prepare and give birth the second time, because it was such a traumatic experience that I didn't want to relive it again. So it's not about scaring women into, saying that it's going to be difficult, you are going to have to be in pain and everything. But there are a few things that new mothers, future mothers can do in advance to prepare themselves, either by taking courses or listening to birth stories, just to be more aware of the things, how things are going to happen, and also get some inspiration about what maybe they will want for their own birth and everything. And I think the more you know, and the more also you are open about how things are going to unfold, and the better, the more positive your experience might be. So I'm always very grateful for all the people who help future mothers or new mothers on their journey, because I think it's much needed. So thank you very much for coming with us and talk about this. Would you like to share something else before we end this live, maybe?
Yeah, well, what I'm doing now, starting in the process to help also people who are less have less financial to spend. We are making an online course to expand it in the world in different languages, so in Dutch, English, and Spanish, to have this preparation. What can they do in all those layers that we were talking about holistically, and if they want to pinpoint something more deeper than about which team they're mentally, more about visualizations, more about affirmations, whatever is important for them. We will have like separate subs, in teams that are important to cope with, and so that they will have this information. And also giving retreats with herbs and getting to know the herbs. Which products can you make with the herbs by yourself to help your in daily life, and to start having less plastic and more what can you find in your own garden, to use. And so I'm doing this with a very dear friend of mine who has much more knowledge than me. I'm just sneaking around the corner. But the other things that I know more about, that I've been doing for years, like yoga and meditation, mindfulness, and all those things, I will pinpoint more, and of course. But there we will, combine and put together our knowledge and do something amazing with it, and to and to have it with a very low price, so people can have it with videos, with audios, with podcastings we're going to start doing. And I hope to spread more the love in that way, because even if you're breastfeeding, you can put a podcast on, if you're like, so then you're like having a person there, but in a different way, so it's more reachable. This is the way we have to use also the digital world.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it does indeed sound amazing. I can't wait to hear more about it. And I hope you will share it on Parentally for parents
Of course,
to find
I will,
it.
of course.
Yes.
Of course.
And we have also been talking about a few things that you mentioned during this live, like the Rebozo, the closing of the bone ceremony, the belly binding. So if among you viewers, you are not really familiar with what these things are, these amazing, beautiful things are, you can find information on Parentally. Of course, you can also contact Alejandra. I will put all the details or contact details in the feed. This live has been recorded, so I will share it on the feed later on. Of course, I think it was a great conversation and a great one to listen to. I'm a big fan of podcasts, so indeed, listening to something while we're doing something else is so efficient. It's great, and it's also efficient.
I will invite you then on mine.
Okay, I will come with pleasure. I'm not very good at that, but I will come with pleasure. But Alejandra, thank you so much for coming in today and talking with me. To all the viewers, thank you so much for listening to our conversation. I hope it was interesting. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a beautiful rest of your day, and see you soon on Parentally. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.